Hello and welcome back to Hoi4 with an step back expansion as we're playing as the German Reich. So, let's see, you wouldn't have noticed it, but for a while I wasn't recording, so I haven't, you wouldn't have noticed it until I told you, but I've sort of forgotten anything I said at the end of the last episode, so have fun with that. Let's see, we haven't started setting up the collaboration government yet, which we probably should immediately. Command zone ready. Diplomatic passports. So I've been at the Royal Archives in Oslo. I've mentioned this in one of my other Let's Plays as well, but I'll be sprinkling some of my anecdotes through the different videos of what I saw and all the cool stuff that I learned. But I was researching espionage in World War I, not World War II, and not only that, it also brought me into researching the Red Scare in Norway following the Russian Civil War, in which the Bolsheviks came out on top. Well, the Reds came out on top, and then the Bolsheviks came out on top of the power struggle, and there is a lot of talk in Norway about, by the general staff in Norway, about the possibility of a revolution and all the various ways in which it can happen. And they were very afraid of revolutionaries from Red Finland coming over during the Finnish Civil War, following the Finnish Civil War. And there were several Finnish communists in Norway and in Sweden, and there was cooperation between Denmark, Norway, and Sweden and Finland in order to catch these communists. There are also a lot of syndicalists in Norway. If you don't know what syndicalism is, just play Kaiserreich. You will have to learn what it is. And the whole surveillance of these people, very interesting, because it kind of feels like it wasn't legal, but I think it still was. I think it was sort of on the edge of legality because they were using a law that was made in 1915 in Norway for the surveillance of German spies and French and British and Austrian and so on spies. But what happened was, well, they decided, or they learned, or realized after the Russian Civil War, okay, we might have to surveil some other people in our country. So they kept the law after the war was over, and they started doing surveillance of communists. But yeah, so agents will, and while I was doing this, I've been reading the actual pamphlets that were seized, the actual physical pamphlets that were seized by communists and stuff. There were so many soldiers' councils being propped up, or not that being propped up, that were popping up in Norway within the army, that the general staff was kind of terrified and was telling every single division to report about soldiers' council forming. Soldiers' councils were essentially democratic councils, kind of like unions of soldiers, and their intent was to set up a military strike, as in a strike, like a protest, right? Where they just would refuse to serve. They would still have their equipment, right? And then they would be organized in order to accomplish a revolution. This was sort of the plan, I believe, of Martin Tranmæl, the leader of the Norwegian Labour Party during the 20s, after he came out on top in the power struggle in there, where the more Moscow Bolshevik-oriented leader sort of fell out of favor, and the actual syndicalist, more so, leader became, the actual leader of the Labour Party. Sorry, I've been rambling for 4 minutes. Agents will use diplomatic passports to enter the country and move around. We expect enemy counterintelligence to try and tail them, but this can be overcome with sufficient training. Our team will meet with some sympathetic politicians to discuss the possibility of a new government being formed to administer Poland after we occupy it, and form some small work groups that will work out the details. Our agents will escape by crossing the border at night in a remote location. Local guides are standing by to assist in navigating the treacherous area. Hiking across the border. Cool. Prepare. But yeah, it's just altogether fascinating, the stuff you learn. One of the funniest things I saw was a very small folder in the intelligence archives that said that was regarding 2 potential spies. One of them was called Luigi. I forget the other guy's first name, but they were both called like Jacoporelli or something. And I don't know if they were spies, but they suspected them of being spies, so they used the 1915 law in order to surveil their telegrams. And one who lived in Oslo sent a telegram to his brother, who I believe lived in Kristiansand. He sent a telegram when he went to Bergen, I think. And the telegram read, "Send cookies." And because of this, I believe maybe they thought this was code. And he was brought in for interrogation, and apparently his brother really likes this type of cookies that he wanted him to buy in Bergen, which I don't think he could buy them wherever he lived. Maybe he lived in Bergen, he lived in also then Christiania, but I don't know. It was basically, it just said send cookies, and the Norwegian counterintelligence was like, holy shit, these guys are spies. United Kingdom dominates Dutch trade negotiations. Cool. Good for you. Man, I guess we could just do this. I feel like since I'm not going to be babysitting that, they're going to win anyways. Let's chill a little bit on the guns right now, and let's focus on support equipment and artillery. Fighters will also be vital, and so will CAS. Do we have a doctrine chosen for us? Yes, we do, and it is CAS. Very good. Now, actually, I don't know if this... I don't know if they can, but can CAS bomb trains? They should, right? They should be able to. These guys are tactical bombers. They're not CAS. Where is our CAS? Do we even have CAS? We should have Stukas. Also, we're gonna be using paratroopers because you can do some silly stuff with them. Radio is gonna be vital for our tanks as well. But yeah, you can do some silly stuff with paratroopers because of the way the supply system works now, because everything has to flow by rail. Let's say we are fighting Operation Barbarossa, which is kind of the point of this Let's Play. Let's say we have a bunch of Soviet troops here, and we can get... I don't know how far we could get the paratroopers. Maybe we could get them out here. We could drop them near Smolensk, or behind Smolensk, cut off... actually, sorry, in front of Smolensk. Cut off supplies down this way. We could drop someone over here, cut off supplies that way, and drop someone over here and cut off supplies that way. Then everything has to flow through here. I guess we cut off supplies there. And, you know, so on and so forth. Doing it that far back is probably not good. Probably just drop them here and cut off here at Vitebsk. And then drop them here and here. And then you've just sort of cut off the entire army that's over here from supplies. We could do some cool stuff with that. And that's something I definitely want to mess with. Are we making enough troops for... Probably not. For the focuses. Rhineland, befriend China, Anticom. Yeah, we need way, way, way more. Should have the gun production to keep this up now. Anarchist uprising in the Spanish Civil War. I don't see it. Did they die already? It doesn't look like it. They've got Barcelona still there. Oh yeah, we're here, aren't we? France and Britain announced on lines. That's not good for us. Yeah, getting medium tanks is definitely something I want. It's not a massive priority though. Let's see, medium tank, reliability, and soft attack. Reliability is actually way more important now. Max speed and reliability. That, I think, is the one we're gonna go for. And let's go for it. We have good light tanks, don't we? 1936. So maybe we should... We probably don't have enough army experience to do anything with it. Speaking of which, we need to do this because we're not going to be invading Poland for a while, so we should just be training everyone. Why'd I call one of them army in German and one of them corps in English? Stop this. Actually, just go there. Yeah, because they're getting attacked, I think. Or no, are they attacking? Good question. Are the ones kneeling attacking or getting attacked? These guys are attacking because I can still move. So maybe they are getting attacked. It's funny, like, they won't tell you who's attacking or not, but maybe the animations will give you some info. Our planes are in the wrong spot right now. We should be going here right now. Let's just pump out troops. Like there's no tomorrow. We still have a positive equipment gain ratio. Let's do the armored train so that we can get the railway gun ready, so we can pump that out immediately. As, like, real war begins. The railway guns take a while to build, and you can only dedicate 5 factories to them, kind of like a ship with its 5 dockyards. Cool. Army innovations would be good to have done already. Joint air research with the Soviets. It just requires one of the following, but it doesn't say requires to not be at war with the Soviets, which is kind of funny. Air innovations is actually probably something we should do first. I'm not sure how important heavy fighters will be. The Soviet Union is quite large. I'm gonna go with improved armor protection instead. Soviet Union is quite large, so they might be needed. There we go. Keep the attack running. Or keep the momentum. Got some pretty well-trained tank divisions now. Let him relax a little bit. Send him in there. Cool. And that'll be Barcelona.
Zeigt es ihnen! Ausrücken! Auf geht's! Angetreten. Befehle. Los, los!
We're attacking into mountains, which is not great, but
Bereit!
they are also, like, we are pursuing them, essentially, so it doesn't matter that much.
Ausrücken!
Okay, next up is... a radio and all that jazz. Anything we need on special forces? Not... well, I'll do paratroopers, so we can start training them.
Los, los, los!
Still think we need... MIFO bills are gonna go up in price. That's annoying, but we're gonna have to live with it. We still need to get transport planes before we can even do power drops. So let's make sure we get... that's a tactical bomber. They all look the same to me. Let's make sure we get transport planes up and rolling, and they take a long time to build, so I'm dedicating a couple more factories to it. The free Panzer design is really nice. Is there anything else that gives us a free Panzer design here? Strongly doubt it. It's funny to look at this tree compared to the Soviet tree. The German tree and the American tree are much less deep than the... and that's not really the way you say it. They are less deep. You don't say much less deep. They are less deep than the Soviet tree, in my opinion. Or the Soviet tree is wide as hell, so it's kind of hard to keep track of everything. Not so much with a lot of these other trees. That's the thing, though. I think, and you can kind of sort of tell with the German tree, the developers didn't really imagine that the focus trees were going to be home to so much flavor, and instead they were, I think, originally just meant to be like sort of, they're going to guide your gameplay, right? But then, like, if you look at this, now, they added, of course, this stuff, which is fairly flavorful, and I believe they did update the rest as well, but still, like, all this is very, I mean, it's flavorful, and it does do, like, specific operations from the war, but it's very practical. And then if you look at the stuff here, it's practical, but it also has stuff like the new Soviet woman. They have a lot of these, like, smaller things, like socialist education, socialist realism, emulation, rather. But then, of course, you have this whole, like, gameplay system with Trotsky and the paranoia, which is very, very flavorful. The 5-year plan, which the Germany has something similar, but it's not nearly as deep. Like, you don't learn too much about these. Like, Army Innovations 2, Air Innovations 2, like, it's very, very generic, right? You don't learn too much in these. Oh yeah, we should do the Autobahn. Because that means construction goes way, way faster. We do also need anti-tank, because we will need the cannon that you get from that to put on our tanks, to get some self-propelled tank destroyers. We won't have too many of them. How far away from the Anschluss are we? We're not quite there yet. I want... oh, Ludwig Beck seems really good, but I want training time and experience. That's from Keitel. Or Keitel. This focus for trade with Germany and the Dutch is also flavorful. Or not focus, rather, the decision. That's something that was added in Man the Guns. Man the Guns, I think, is when they sort of realized they wanted to do this, like, deep, flavorful stuff with the focus trees and all that. and I guess with the decisions. Some of them are kind of flavorful, but they did feel fairly generic, a lot of them, especially with the United States Congress stuff. And I think some of that stuff was stuff they learned from the Kaiserreich devs, whose events and whose decisions are, generally speaking, like they don't have a lot of generic ones. Except for when they have generic focus trees, of course. Now, Kaiserreich does sometimes go a little bit overboard with it, though. Like, you get Ireland's focus tree, for example, which is just absurd. We need oil. We need oil so bad. So what does this do when we cancel them? I'm assuming it's going to make a lot of people upset. There we go, Anschluss. Okay, we're ready. We do get a focus that gives us bonuses to that, but I want to make sure that we have oil processing kind of up and running in a big way early on. Germany is in a very... we're going to be doing tactical air effort, of course. Germany is in a big way in a very desperate position. You might be saying, why aren't you doing the research slot? There's nothing for me to research right now. But yeah, Germany's like... The story of Germany in World War II is in terms of World War II, like, when we were playing Hearts-of-Iron, right? We're not talking about the actual politics and stuff, which aren't modeled to any satisfactory degree in Hearts-of-Iron. And we're not talking about any of that stuff, but the story of Germany, when you're playing this game, is a story of desperation. It's also a story of, like, a rocket growth, of course, and, like, sudden expansion and sudden power. But it is a story of desperation. The idea is you have to get the oil down here in the Soviet Union and in Romania. Otherwise, you're kind of boned. Your air force will collapse and will not work. You don't have a navy, so trade doesn't work. You're kind of hemmed in right here, like by the Royal Navy. You need rubber, which you can't really get because that's all the way over here. And yeah, you're kind of like in a position where you're gonna grow and become pretty big, pretty fast. But then that's gonna be that's gonna be the end of it. And then, of course, at that point, you got a United States that's fully mobilized and ready for war, and you're balls deep in in the Urals or up on the Volga River or whatever. Balls deep in the Soviet Union, I mean. First Corps are... yeah, they're up there. So we're gonna make the Third Army. The Soviet story is also a story of desperation. The story of the United Kingdom is kind of like of isolation, I feel like. France is is, I guess, like, I mean, it is World War II. I guess most of them are stories of desperation. Japan still has the same thing. It's got the same vibe as Germany. China is Japan's Soviet Union. United States is Japan's United States. And Japan also has the same issue with oil. They have a massive navy, but they can't really use it unless they have the oil, which is down hereabouts. Yep, down here. They need this oil. And the United States wants them to not have that oil because the United States has all the oil, and that's that's the story of the United States in real life. Let's just go for this immediately, I guess. Let's open 7 at a time. Marines, not something we really want to mess with. You can, of course, disagree with me on all of those things. I don't mind. They're ill-conceived thoughts that I'm blurting out in the middle of playing a video game, so they're not very well fleshed out. Those ideas that I was just spouting. Oh no, sorry, those are Spanish volunteers. That's the Third Army.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Putting the corps at the back there so we know where they are. How can anyone say that Austria is not German? Hello, Germans.
Bereit zum
Hello,
Ausrücken.
trash armies. Alpenjäger, you will be swapped over to...
Bereit.
the exact same one, but
Bereit.
just keeping it a unified design. You guys are infantry divisions, your Austrian infantry divisions,
Zuhören.
but yeah, let's swap you over to the same one as the rest of the infantry divisions, assign you to an army.
Angetreten.
These guys are... yeah, now they're Gebürs brigades, and let's put them in... we have some of them in an army, but we should probably make our own corps for them.
Zuhören.
Oh, you haven't been assigned? Oh, I'm putting them on the corps, that's fine. I wasn't putting them in the army, that's fine though. The question of Yugoslavia. And following the return of Austria to the Reich, we now share a border with Yugoslavia. The government of Prince Paul has been fairly quiet about their stance on our proposed reordering of Europe. Perhaps we should remind them that the time will come when they must make a choice. Putting the squeeze on them. Reassert Eastern claims. We demand Memel.
Befehle.
I should probably prep for a war with them right now.
Angetreten.
Probably kind of stupid of me to not do so. Okay, no. You are gonna be... there we go. And you're gonna be placed in this core. The core will have a mountain icon. That's not a mountain icon, that's a mountain icon. And
Ihre Befehle.
you are also mountaineers. Cool.
Bereit zum Ausrücken. Achtung.
Cavalry as well. Yeah, we have a cavalry one as well. Schnelle Division. You will be put in cavalry brigade design. They seem to have a larger design. Maybe. Looked like it, but I might be wrong. It might not actually have been that. It might have been a smaller design than ours. Air experience gain daily is good. Yugoslavia requests sale of airplanes. Realizing a strategic weakness, Yugoslavian Air Force has initiated a crash program to modernize and expand its air force. Significant money reserves have been set aside to cover the purchase. A commission is traveling around Europe to look for new sources of fighters and medium bombers. Given the urgency of the issue, the Yugoslavians have insisted on immediate delivery of or transfer of planes directly from the producer. Through the sale of fighters from our reserves or bombers, or we can't spare anything. Let's send... oh, it's nothing. Let's send them 50 fighters, yeah.
Achtung. Angetreten.
Probably need a general for this army. We will put Kurt Student, you are our paratrooper leader, so you're not going to be leading them. Kessel Ring, you're also a paratrooper leader, I think. Let's do Heinrici. What planes will we be researching first, and when? We'll be researching Fighter 2 first, and that's in 2 years, so there's no rush to choose an aircraft designer. Instead, I'm going to be doing these other guys. Can we replace one of these guys, actually? Like, get rid of Guderian and put someone else in charge? No, not really. Okay. Let's get... Yeah, let's get some of these guys, because they give us good bonuses to experience gain. Army logistics is insanely important to us. So is infantry attack and defense. I think that's the guys we're going to roll with. And then probably Sperla. Sperla. I don't know how you pronounce that name. Crit student will be used at some point. Rommel is apparently an armor genius. I guess actually will be used instead of him. Again, disagree. But, yeah, let's actually put Rommel instead, because he's just better. Rundstedt is really good as well. But it doesn't give 0.12 daily, though. Army experience. Do we need... we need the Molotov Ribbentrop Pact to attack Poland, do we? Or... Spanish Republicans have been defeated. I mean, the Anarchists were defeated a long time ago as well. Nationalist victory. We asserted Eastern claims. Let's demand the Sudetenland.
Zuhören.
In the unlikely event that the Czechoslovakians say no, we'll put some troops there. We have been given Memel. Nice. Thank you, Lithuania. Is there anything else we can swap over here? We have the mobile tank designer. We have the industrial designer. Oh, we could do the electronics one, because we're researching electronics, and that takes a while. But we are also researching industry, aren't we? No, we're not. Okay, yeah, let's swap this over to the electronics concern. Siemens. Troops have returned. Let's send them to tanks there.
Ihre Befehle?
So look at our supply depots and everything. Not good.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Oh, by the way, we are beyond time, so I want to say thank you so much for watching. These videos are meant to be 30 minutes long, so that's roughly where we should end, but I always go over time. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button. It helps out a great deal, at least I'm told. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or whatever, leave them in the comments down below, and I will read all of them. And yeah, you can find all the other stuff you might need in the description down below, like my Twitter, my Twitch, my Patreon, and my Discord community, which is full with a lot of cool folks. But please, I mean, if you're you know, like these guys, if you're like these guys, please don't come to my Discord community because you will get banned. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.